Stand by. Switching from human mode to dad mode. Initializing sequence. In 3, 2, 1. This is Dad Mode, the podcast where we navigate the chaotic realms of parenting, gaming, content creation, work, and hell, just life in general. We're diving into the challenges of raising kids in the digital age, from social media madness to navigating the gaming landscape. We're talking about it all, especially from a dad's perspective. Whether it's conquering the latest game, creating content that's more than just a hobby, or just trying to keep up with the ever-changing tech landscape, we're right there with you. We want to help you navigate this wild journey of parenthood and modern life, from balancing family time to managing your career and still squeezing in some gaming and content creation. It's all about fun, some dad wisdom, and a whole lot of dad mode. Now your hosts, Bearded Nova and more.
We're back again with Nerdstorm. Welcome back. How you doing? I'm not going to ask how it's been since the last time you were here because we both know, all three of us know that's kind of stupid to ask right now. But welcome back. And last time we were talking a lot about, what it's like being a new father and all the things you got to learn and all the challenges you have. Kind of want to focus now a little bit on the time aspect. And we have definitely talked about this on previous episodes, but there's so many different aspects of it, and I love hearing everybody's different perspective on it. So you are somebody that works. You obviously have your toddler, and you do a lot with content creation. How do you kind of balance all that and spending time with the wife and all that kind of stuff?
Well, first and foremost, you talk to your significant other. Yeah, that's the very first thing.
Good.
You must do, because if not,
Standing in front of you.
Oh no! I promise. I'm in this room by myself. But no, like it's definitely a good thing to do, because if not only are you going to cause stress on your significant other, you're going to cause stress on yourself, your kids. It's not going to be a good situation at the end of the day, because there's going to be something that you end up forgetting that you had to do, or something that you're missing out on that you should be there for, or whatever the case may be. So it's definitely always a good idea to plan stuff out. And like what me and my wife do, and we're not the best at it. There are a couple things that I miss here and there, I might forget to say or whatnot. But like what we try and do is like write down like what my first and foremost what my work schedule is for the month, and then from there, like what days she would need breaks, or the days that I stream, and the days that I might need to like specifically sit down and record content for like TikTok, YouTube or whatnot.
Yeah.
And we kind of just like space that out. And then like obviously days where it's just me and the boy or whatnot. So we kind of try and space that out so that way it's easier on all of us. Now, like I said, we don't always necessarily stick to it, but it's, for one, it's the idea and the thought that counts first and foremost. Because if you don't do that, like I said, it's just things are just going to end up bad. You're going to have a bad time.
You are. I remember, when I was doing more content on TikTok, and I talk a lot about time management and being consistent in scheduling, stuff like that. That. And I think a lot of people don't understand it. Like, I'm like, hey, if you need to make a schedule and write down all the things you need to do and prioritize. And it's the same way when you're dealing with family. Like, no matter how much I talked about content creation, family and work are always way more important. And I don't care who you are. I mean, unless you're someone whose your job literally is content creation, like that's your income. And that line is kind of blurred, but really you have to focus on all that other stuff. And like, sometimes you need to know it to the fine grained detail in terms of like what it is you need to get done and what's important. Bearded, I'm sure you experience the same thing.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's, we talked about it's working smarter. How do you work it in? All I think is you'd know some, well, you're juggling everything. You had that TikTok series for a while about gamers. And you had to come at that. you weren't getting that from your streaming. That's a whole different thing. That's a different. It's not like you could use your stream and then cut that up and then put that onto TikTok. You were creating actually your own content for TikTok itself there. And then I know you got the YouTube as well. Like, you can't. It's balancing. It's a balancing act inside itself as well. You've got two different levels of balancing.
Yeah.
So have you found that the scheduling has been more difficult?
Yeah, it definitely can be difficult because, like I said, things come up, there might be things that we forgot, when we're sitting here, planning. Like there's been a couple times where we forgot, like, oh, we should probably have planned a date night here because, we're both, stressed out or whatnot. We needed time to ourselves, so I would have to like cancel something, to push that in, because something that I've had to like cut back on a lot this past year, which I'm going to try and like get that back into the swing of things. I haven't streamed as much as I used to this year. I'm more focused on, trying to stay consistent with, like TikTok and get my YouTube up and running and whatnot. And a lot of the times when I've canceled stream, it's because I've noticed that, my wife is stressed out. Like I need to, pick up the slack there or whatever the case may be. So, it's family comes first and foremost. I know there are a lot of people that, I'll say this as a husband and a father. I know a lot of people sit there is like, oh, kids definitely come first, but like when you're married, you need to make sure your wife is good, because if your wife's not good, then your kids aren't going to be good, because especially if like they're the, quote unquote primary caregiver, a lot of people want to call it that. If, because in my case, I'm working all the time. So it's like she's a stay-at-home mom. So she's watching them most of the time. So I got to make sure that she's good at the end of the day before, anything else. So like I said, if I see her stressed, I'm just going to cancel what I had to do. Like if I had to make content, all right, I'll push that to tomorrow. Or if I had to stream, all right, I'll push that, to whatever, day I can do it, because she comes first.
Yeah. And, shout out to all the stay-at-home moms out there. Too many people say, "Oh, you're just sitting home all day."
No,
it is a hard job. You dads out there who might be saying that, you who don't even like spending 2 hours with your kids, being like, "I can't do this anymore." Imagine doing it 365 days a year. It is a lot of work. Yeah, you're not. You're dealing with a kid, but like it's so hard to be responsible for every moment of that kid's life. Plus, you have other expectations as a stay-at-home mom, where you got to do you're doing probably the grocery shopping and you're doing all the laundry, you're keeping the house up. It's a lot of work doing that. It is exhausting work. And
even single parents, single parents are coping that too.
Yeah.
It is. It's just as hard, if not harder, for them.
Absolutely.
2 weeks ago, my wife and all the kids went down interstate, for a few hours away, flew a few hours away, and it was just me and the newborn at home for 5 days. It was 5 days at first, 4 days it was, and then flights got cancelled, so it ended up being an extra day. But at first it's like, yeah, this is fun, we're gonna have great, and then by the second day I'm like, okay, I really need to go to the toilet, and you're awake. How am I going to do this while you're screaming? I don't got anyone in the house to unload it to, or, oh, okay, hey, can I make a coffee with one hand? I got into the habit of, and it sounds like pure bachelor life, I had ground beef, just a big pound of ground beef, and I just put some spaghetti sauce into it, some vegetables and that, and put that into a container. And in my head, that was my dinner for the next few many days. I ended up buying takeout one night, but okay, if I put pasta to it, that's spaghetti. If I add some chips to it, that's now nachos. Like that's how I broke it up in my head. But that was all, okay, I can't eat until she's asleep. I need to put her down in bed, where I'd eat at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. I was then pushing out to that 9 o'clock at night. It's like, well, I can't put my hands down. And it really did give me a greater insight to how the wife does it at the moment, being a stay-at-home mom, and while she's off at work and juggling all that, having an insight on, okay, cool, we went out, even going out, okay, we're going out. Okay, did I pack everything? I got to the shops one day and realized that I left stuff at home. I'm like, oh crap, now I got to turn around. It was my wallet, actually. I couldn't even buy the things that I was missing because I left my wallet at home.
I've been there.
The baby, she's screaming. She doesn't want to be in the car. But this is what my wife does when I'm not around.
Yeah. I learned that lesson kind of the hard way. I think my boys were 4 and 2, and I went on a business trip and overseas, and they flew us in business class. I'd never flown in business class.
Oh no, don't tell the wife.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that, Bearded. And so I'm on the phone, and you sit down and they give you a hot towel to relax and a glass of champagne and shit. And I'm like, oh shit, that's really nice. So then I'm taking pictures of stuff and I'm texting to the wife, and they feed me on real China. And I'm texting that to the wife, and she's and she's texting back. She's like, fuck you. And she's like, you know what I'm eating now? I'm eating gummy worms for fucking dinner. Because your kids won't go to sleep. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm going to shut up now.
I saw where that was going.
You're having a good time.
I was thinking of that meme with the dog inside the house where it's all on fire. Just everything is fine. You're making problems for yourself doing that.
I didn't know. I didn't know any better. I learned. Yep.
But I've definitely been there multiple times. just sitting there, because especially with my wife, with a stay-at-home mom, the things that kind of get her down is because we only have one car, so it's I'm always taking the car and whatnot, right? So she's stuck in the house all day. It's because we've gotten into arguments and whatnot. Oh, you get to leave the house and whatnot. I'm like, no. I just go to work. That's not leaving. In my opinion, that's not leaving the house. But I had to take a step back and be like, "Oh, she means getting a break from
the house."
Yeah, a break from the house. So, yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. Trying to not only juggle everything that we have going on, but also being understanding of what they're going through as well. So, yeah.
And it is leaving the house, so that's a big deal. But from talking to other, stay-at-home moms that I know, it's also the fact that you're having adult conversations during the
social
day.
Circles, social circles, yeah,
exactly. And that gets to be really hard. I have a buddy whose wife stay at home, and they had twins, and she starts to lose it after a while. You know what I mean? She's just like, I just can't. And he'll come home. She's like, I gotta go out and go to my friend's house for an hour. I don't, she's like, you did a dinner and all that stuff, but because it's hard, because your whole world becomes
them,
them. And it's not that it's bad and you love them and you do anything, but you're still a person that has other needs as well, and you need a little break, or you could lose a little bit of yourself too.
Yeah, very, very much so. Just going back to a bit of time and how it's all juggled in your life. Were you streaming? I don't know, not too much. Were you streaming and doing content creation before your son was born?
Yes. So I was, but I wasn't necessarily taking it nowhere near as serious as I am now. But the day that I found out that my wife was pregnant, it's everything switched. It's I need to be able to not only do something that he can be proud of, but I could be proud of.
Yeah.
So I got serious about it, because I genuinely wanted this to be another source of income, right?
Yeah.
My whole goal at the time was, do this so that way you can stop working at your, day job so much, or, be so, tired, or whatever the case may be. And you can have multiple sources of income, and then you can actually use that to spend more time with your kid and with your wife, with your family. So it was just like a light bulb that popped in my head type thing. So I got super serious with it at that point.
Okay. Then I was just thinking, you're the first person we've actually talked to that started, in my head, you could potentially have started content creation before children. It wasn't a thing when my children were born. I do remember my son when he was born, I did contemplate YouTube, because our internet at the time here in Australia, and even live streaming, that was a hard thing to do. To upload a video to YouTube was going to take a day, to get a video up as well. So that was my first idea of content creation was YouTube 14 years ago. But not live streaming. I could never think about what it was like live streaming. We've always joked about, Morph and I, what it would have been like without a family and our kids streaming, and what a mess our lives would be before children, if it was a thing. But, I thought that was interesting to ask you, just, how did that change? But like you said, you've taken it more serious now.
Yeah. Because I wasn't even posting on. I didn't even have a TikTok. Well, no, I take that back. I did have a TikTok, but I was not posting on TikTok. I may have posted once every month or so. Yep. Or just like random, those random gameplay clips that you get off your Xbox and you just throw those up on the TikTok. That's the type of stuff that I was doing at the time. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, you got a son, you should take this seriously. That's when I started, coming up with content ideas or skits or whatever I think I was doing at first. Yeah. I just had to actually start taking this. And when I started taking it serious is when things started blowing up. I was thinking, man, I wish I had been this serious before he was born, so I could have been a little bit further along. But it's all good.
But it is all good. Like, that's the beauty about content creation is you can kind of get started whenever. Like you can take a long break and come back. You lose a little bit of momentum, but you get it back again.
Yeah.
I mean, probably I'll say in hindsight, taking content creation more serious once your son was born, you weren't put in a position of what you could dedicate before to what you can dedicate now. Because I think that would probably be a great detriment and negative impact on your motivation to make content if you were punching out so much numbers and doing so many streams and this and that, and you're really pushing it, and then all of a sudden that's had to have a backseat. Because honestly, that's me. That's this show. I said it was funny. I was looking at the Twitch had its memories. Your year 2023 wrap up. I haven't streamed in 6 months. I haven't streamed. I haven't done really any TikToks in 6 months. I'm done outside of this. That's been it for me. And I could only imagine, those parents that do have to face that at some point is, they're younger and they're going to become dads or mums at some point, and that's something that probably they should think about now a little bit. Is if if you are going to do it, do you need to remember there's probably it's going to have it's going to drop down a tier of priorities in your life, I guess.
Yeah, like I stream. I usually stream about 1 day a week now. Still on Twitch. Mainly to stay a little bit relevant, so that I'm not the person you say, "Oh, he hasn't streamed in 6 months. I'm gonna remove him as someone I'm following." So I try to stay a little bit relevant, and that's the reason I stream it for that little is to stay active on Twitch still. But yeah, like Bearded, this is what I do. This is my main outlet now for content creation, and it's been great. And it also ties back to something you said a few minutes ago. Is I like, especially this particular podcast where I'm talking about life, I'm talking about parenting, I'm talking about all this stuff and what it's been like. Yeah. Because my kids will be able to listen to this or watch this someday down the road and maybe understand after I'm gone or whatever. And they'll understand a little bit more. Maybe it'll help them be better parents if they're hearing their own dad talk about what it was like raising them. I love you, but sometimes, my God, kids, so, it's not really a legacy, but it's something that's gonna be out there literally forever. Right. That they're gonna be able to learn more about me, and that's one thing I think is so cool about as technology changes is this kind of thing can happen. Yeah, people always remember how does everybody remember me? Down the road, this is how be active, be social, do this kind of stuff.
I feel sorry for my kids, the content they'll see if they look me up in years to come, but hopefully it matures.
Bearded racist and elite TikTok.
But just be bringing that up more often had me thinking. My wife, for example, her mother passed away before we met, and I know that she's got photos. So that, as far as I know, she's got one video where she can hear her mother's voice, but not actually see her mother on the video. And I never thought about the internet in that way and being content creation and having children. You're technically putting stuff up there that will live on forever that your kids could show their kids or great caring kids really down to say, give a take on, depending on how things, go out with technology and where it's stored. But it's something that can live for a long time, and it is a memory. And that's precious. I think that's really special, actually, now I think about it more.
Oh, yeah. It is, because I never got an opportunity to meet my father before he passed, and I have one picture of him, and so as growing up, like you're concocting all these stories about what your parent or my father was like based on this one photo I have, versus like what my kids will have,
Yeah, he's gonna have videos of you yelling.
Yeah, that seems about right.
That's him.
Have all those videos of you eating those beans.
Oh man, yeah, and swearing a lot. But
my dad had a potty mouth. We talked. Hey, more if you cut out.
Yeah, your feed just cut off for a second.
Am I back now?
You are now.
Yeah.
I thought there was something wrong on my end.
Oh, I think I pulled the mic too hard, and I think I might have loosened the cable.
Okay.
I won't touch it. So anyway, when you're gaming, does your kid like to watch you game, or is it like not interesting to him?
Oh, he can be interested and he can not, because I'm starting to think he might be like me, because I have ADHD, and I'm starting to think like, oh, he probably got it too, because he can sit there and then he'll want to do something on his own.
Yeah.
Like whether, because my son likes to watch Miss Rachel, right? Like she's like an educational person on YouTube for like, toddlers and whatnot. So he loves watching Miss Rachel. So I have to, before he starts throwing stuff or getting like frustrated or whatever, I have to pull my phone out, pull up Miss Rachel, put my phone in, kids mode or whatever.
Yeah, lock mode, so they can't.
So they can't go to anything else. And I'll just hand him Miss Rachel. He'll sit it there and he'll just start watching it. And then occasionally he'll look up and actually like physically like watch me play the game for a little bit, and then go right back to Miss Rachel. But there have been plenty of times where he'll specifically like go and pick up like the Xbox controller or the PlayStation controller.
Good.
Well, he likes to hear the beep.
But are you like present?
It's a start.
You're like Palpatine in the background going, good.
I just need him to get into Star Wars now.
That's why I had to drop that in there.
My wife tried getting our boys into a lot of the things that she liked to do, and they were kind of interested for a while. But now they are 100% gamers and like superhero geeks, and they like Star Wars and everything Marvel and all video games. It's awesome. It's like I have like little buddies. It's truly awesome. My wife was like, I need a daughter. But no, it's awesome. It's awesome for me anyway.
My sister, my nephew, they're totally different. He doesn't game. Like my mum has set up a laptop at her house and it's like, you can play Minecraft like the other kids at school, primary school do. So he's kind of getting into that stuff, and his dad, Earth Mover, like country that, they're not into that type of stuff, that side of the internet, or really any of the internet altogether. But it was great hearing, it was a couple of weeks ago. My sister messaged me going, oh yeah, Clayton wants to know, can you do Star Wars Lego with him? I'm like, yes, we can do Star Wars Lego. Like, yes, I am the man for that job. Like, yes, it felt great.
What's cool about my situation is my wife is also, like a gamer, like very nerdy or whatnot. So it's kind of perfect. So we can both be sitting there playing a game, or there'll probably going to be games that we both play that he's going to also want to play or whatnot. So it's pretty cool. And plus, my wife is she's getting ready to get into content creation herself too. So
fantastic! Wow, there's so many. There's so many great. No, it's not on TikTok. Couple content creators together, they have working together. I've seen the ones where, and I know there are creators on that we all know that their partner's stream, but you don't really see too much of a crossover in between them.
Yeah.
But then you've got the other end where you see the guys that really leverage that they're a couple.
Yep.
And I think that works so damn well.
Yeah.
Really, I really do think it works way better than the latter.
Oh yeah.
It'd be cool just to have somebody that
It'd be great. Do this. Yeah. The most I got my wife to do was throw a pie at my face, and she thought that was great.
That's funny. Yeah. That's the one thing that my wife has volunteered to do.
And wax stripped my head that time as well.
Oh, goodness.
And my armpit. And my armpit. Like, that was for charity.
She's like, you want me to hurt you? Okay.
Yeah, basically. I'm like, hey, I got to do this thing for kids and raising money for hospitals and video games. At some point, I'm going to need you to throw a pie at my face, and there's some wax strips, you know. She goes, do you need help with that? I'm like, no, probably not. Next thing you know, one of the viewers said, oh, is your wife around? I said, yeah. She goes, how much would it charge you? You know, how much would you want to wax strip your armpit? I'm like, oh, God damn it. So that was it. She's like, I'll put that money in straight away. She did. She put some money straight over into it. And then my wife was so happy, me on the phone going, hey, I'm going to need you down here. I don't know how to wax, you know, I could wax strip my leg, but I don't know how to do my armpit. And then I could hear. She was like the Flash coming down the stairs to do that
shit. Oh my goodness. Yeah. My wife's definitely like been on stream with me before. We've played Stardew Valley on stream. Literally probably one of the best times I've had, like just playing games with somebody on stream. And it's a very amazing and loving moment because for one, you're sitting there making content with, you know, the person that you love. And then secondly, like you don't have to sit there and, you know, pretend you can be who y'all are together, and it just creates these crazy moments. Like it was when we were playing Stardew, she had me going chopping trees and whatnot. So at the time when we did that, that guy on TikTok that all the ladies love that chop. Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm a chop wood like him. So I was like, I started like grunting and everything. She was like, "Oh, please don't do that." I was like, "Oh, I'm about to." Every single tree is about to get these thrusts.
Yeah.
Created some amazing moments with her. So yeah, it was definitely good.
That's funny. So bearded Nerdstorm, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
It's been a lot of fun talking with you, and it kind of helping me remember what it was like when my kids were young.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm glad that I was able to get up here.
Thank you.
So if you guys don't know much about Nerdstorm, you can go catch him, like I said before, on YouTube, on TikTok. You can catch his live streams on Twitch, learn more about him. And apparently his wife is going to be a creator soon too, so you can get to know Mrs. Nerdstorm a little bit.
And Goku was a good father. I just want to say that.
Thank you. He was a good dad. There's like, I'm sorry that I'm prolonging.
I had to do this. I
have to say it because it doesn't make sense for people to sit there and say Goku's a bad dad. He was literally in Gohan and Goten's life for a majority. Like, people like to say, "Oh, Piccolo was a better dad than Gohan was." Piccolo literally only watched Gohan for like 6 months, and then he was beating him up or training him, if you will, for those 6 months. So it's just like 6 months compared to a lifetime. Well, the math ain't mathing.
Yep. So thanks again for joining us here, Nerdstorm, and
no problem.
For everybody listening, you can catch Bearded and I next week, just talking about some other crazy shit. So
who knows?
Come back for that too.
You've been listening to Dad Mode. Our passion is navigating this wild journey of parenthood and modern life. From balancing family time to managing your career and still squeezing in some gaming and content creation. And no matter what the women say, they will never be able to pry the controller out of our cold, dead hands. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Dad Mode Podcast. And we can be found on every podcast site at Dad Mode Podcast. Y'all be cool. See you next time.